Hi, the topic today is how to be highly effective, and I'm focusing on the spirit of leadership. There are always two parts to everything, that of body and that of spirit. Just like in law, there is code, there is spirit of law. So, but the major one is the spirit, because without the spirit, the code is finished. The spirit, you cannot manipulate it. You can't touch it. It goes to the mind of the person who wrote the law. So the same way is the spirit of leadership. So if you haven't got the spirit of leadership, there's no way you can be a leader. Because no matter how much you study it, you're just like the code you get. But the spirit has to be there. The spirit is essential, because without the spirit, the body is weak. So that is why today we have to understand the concept of spirit in what we are doing. The spirit of the Lord, the spirit of action, the spirit of the word. You can say as much as you like, but you cannot put it into action because it lacks that very spirit. And that's why leadership today, has gone awry, because a lot of people do not understand it and they don't have this spirit of leadership. So passivity, most of us today, because when you tell somebody, look, you are born to be a leader, you are created by God to lead. God has left the spirit of leadership and rulership inside of you. The person will stand aside and start mocking you and laughing you. You see, so most times we don't believe that we are meant to lead. We always think it is another person. We always think it is Paul, it is John. We are not meant to lead. Everybody is created to lead. The instinct of rulership and leadership is in us. That's why sometimes inside of you, you don't get that kind of satisfaction. You don't get that kind of feeling, that will compel you to do something. So the spirit of leadership is the one that God has left inside of you, that is like instinct, that compels you to take action, that compels you to, rise up on your feet and stand on what you believe. So, but because of the way we've been taught, because of the way the environment and the society, the way they have beaten us, into a pulp, beaten us so weak, then we began to accept that it is normal for us to be followers. It is normal for us not to, be who we are. That is normal for us to always say leadership is for Queen Elizabeth. Leadership is for this. Leadership is for that. Leadership for Anthony, but it's not for me. So that type of thinking, it is what we call the spirit of slavery, and you've assumed it and you put it into your heart and accepted it, and that has become who you are. So the spirit of slavery is different from spirit of leadership. The spirit of leadership compels you to be a leader, compels, it brings that of leadership God left inside of you out. But when you begin to accept that you are not a leader, you begin to believe that it is normal for you to be following, it is normal for you to be silent, it's normal for you to be passive, it's normal for you to be timid. That is a spirit of slavery. And this aspect, this spirit of slavery is worse than any other. It's worse than the chain that is put on your feet. So that is why it is very, very important to begin to understand this. Because if you don't understand the spirit of leadership, you are finished in life. Because if you don't believe something, there's no way you can achieve it. I repeat, if you don't believe something, there's no way you can achieve it. Because you will always say, well, since I don't believe in it, since it's not for me, you go the other way. But you don't know that that is your destiny. That is your future. God breathed inside of you and gave you the same spirit he possessed and told you, let them have dominion. You had it. And told us, let us have dominion. That dominion empowers you to possess this spirit of leadership and spirit of rulership. One day I told my friend, I said, look, this is what I want to be. My friend started laughing. What? That, how do I think I can be this? How do I think I can be this person? How do I think I can achieve this? This kind of thinking, like I said, is coming from the spirit of slavery, because you don't know that you possess this. You don't know that God left you with this gift of leadership and rulership. So many of people in my own generation, when you tell them, oh, I want to contest for president, let's say, oh, they started laughing and they say, look, how can it be? Or I want to be a prime minister, how can it be? Or I want to be a senator, I want to lead, they say, it's like you're crazy. It's like you're mad. It's because why they're saying this thing, what is saying this thing is the spirit of slavery inside of them. The spirit of slavery is the one that makes you believe that, one, you are not a child of God. One, you don't possess God as your father. Two, that you are not a human being, that you have to, accept the social status the world has given to you. Then you have to all believe that, or unless it comes from Peter, or unless it comes from a white man, or unless it comes from James, that is not for me. And that is where this thing we are calling people that they are humble, it does not apply in this way. That is not humility. It is stupidity. And this stupidity is coming from spirit of slavery, because you begin to internalize that you cannot lead, you cannot take responsibility, you cannot organize something, you cannot pursue excellence, you cannot make something perfect, and you cannot make something good. So that is the spirit of slavery. And that is the one that is responsible for making people to be paupers and stupid people. So this is the one we are fighting. It is not the enemy outside. They said, one, it is not the opponent outside. It is the enemy inside. It is what you possess inside that, makes you to believe that you have no significance. That makes you to believe that you have no value. That makes you believe that you have nothing to contribute in this world. Meanwhile, you have a lot of things to you can add value, you can make a difference in this world, but your mind is telling you, well, if it's making difference, it's not for us. It's for the educated. It's for the well-to-do. It's for the rich people. It's for this kind of thinking is what makes you different in a dangerous way. And if you keep on internalizing things, you've filled your mind with the spirit of slavery. Then you've thrown away the spirit of leadership God gave you. Because remember this statement. God has never been ruled over before. God has never been, oppressed before. And God has never been depressed. So this spirit, he gave it to you. So you should never be ruled over by any other person except your own consent. You should never be oppressed by any person except your consent. So most times when people are oppressing you and you're accepting it, that is spirit of slavery. And that is the one I'm talking to. That is where I'm trying to highlight, so that you begin to understand it yourself, so that you can wake up and say, look, God gave me his spirit, which is leadership, which is rulership. I can never be oppressed. If you're accepting, an oppression, that if you're accepting to be oppressed, that is the spirit of slavery. If you believe that you have no value, that is the spirit of slavery that is control you. If you believe you cannot be a leader of your country, that is a spirit of slavery that is, destroying you. Because everybody has been given leadership spirit. Everybody has been given the spirit of rulership. So why do you undermine yourself? Why do you sabotage yourself? By assuming a lesser spirit, assuming a satanic spirit, which is the spirit of slavery. And that is what is, holding about 99% of people down today. Because they believe they don't deserve it. Because they believe that it's not for them. Now you see somebody killing another person, you cannot condemn that person. You see somebody, killing another human being, you say it's normal. You see somebody robbing another person, you say it's normal. You see another person, killing his wife or his wife killing him, you say it's normal. These things are not normal. It's because the society has beaten you so badly that you began to accept these things as normal. It's like a child who never, met his dad and never knew that his dad left a huge inheritance. And then somebody has to take him to his village or to where he's and say, this is your father, because you never believed it, you never saw it. The same thing is the way we are thinking. And this thinking, is the one that makes people slave. It's the one that makes people to become slaves. It's not the chain. It's not the lack of education. It is not the oppression. It's not being the oppressive system you get. It is your own thinking that holds you down. Because if you don't accept a slave mentality, a slave spirit, there is no way somebody can change you. There is no way somebody can control you. There's no way somebody can impose himself onto you. There's no way. In fact, you will always possess this spirit of leadership and rulership. So by the time you accept that you should be a follower, you should be a subject, that on itself, has damaged you. That has put you on a pedestal, has put you on a difficult position. And once you are in this difficult position, no matter the level of education you are given, go to Harvard, get first class, you cannot use it. Go to Oxford University, get the best degree, you cannot use it because you have allowed the spirit of slavery to take control of you. And the Spirit of God is not in you. The Holy Spirit is not in you anymore. Because the Holy Spirit is the one that reveals to you who you are. And with this kind of mindset, you can never be happy and you will never become who God created you to be. Because God made you in his own image and gave you the same spirit you possess by breathing into you and say, let them have dominion. That is the genesis of what God has promised us and the genesis of what God has given to us. But the other way around, the society has made us to believe we are poor, to believe we are weak, to believe that we are subordinate, to believe we are slaves, to believe that we are servants. Oh, the leadership is for this kind of family. Oh, leadership is for the caliphate. Leadership is for the this. Leadership is, therefore, leadership is not for you. This is a satanic thinking. This is evil thinking. And this is slave mentality. Slavery is holding you down. It is inside your mind. Just like the spirit of leadership is inside your mind, the same way spirit of slavery is inside of your mind. It depends on your awareness. It's based on how conscious you are and how you are able to, get rid of the spirit of slavery. Even though the chairs are out, the spirit of slavery that you have acquired will not make you to progress. It will not make you to, discern, to separate what is right and what is not right. What is bad and what is good. You can't separate them. Like you saw what happened in America, how George Floyd was killed. The oppressor, the officer couldn't separate the difference between killing a human being and killing an animal. Killing a human being, he never separated the difference. He never knew the difference between, what is good and what is bad. How could somebody, kneel on somebody's neck casually, put his 2 hands inside his pocket, and was celebrating and was jubilating while somebody was dying underneath, and the world sat silent? Is it possible? You are watching it on your screen and you are dumbfounded, you kept quiet. This insensitivity, this timidity, this passivity, this silence is the spirit of, slavery that is holding you. That makes you not to see it as, evil. You are seeing it as normal. You see somebody shoot another person and you see, you see it as normal. You see somebody kill another person, you say it's normal. It is not normal. It is when you begin to believe that it is normal, is because you have allowed the spirit of slavery to conquer you, to hold you, and to build a house in your mind. Some people will say, why am I talking every day? Why am I speaking every day? Because I've now realized that this kind of silence is a symbol, is evidence that the spirit of slavery has taken over my mind. Because the spirit of slavery is the one that makes you to believe that you are powerless. It's the one that makes you believe that you can't do anything. It's the one that makes you to believe that killing a woman, ripping out the child, the fetus, is normal. Taking a fetus and killing it, or killing your wife, or killing your family, or killing anybody is normal. So this kind of thinking is evil. And it's the kind of thinking that I have to go and dominate other people, take over their land or take over their country, and then make them slaves. That is satanic spirit. For a fact that you can rise up in the morning and decide to be controlling other people, that is slave mentality. That is slave spirit that is taking control of you. Like what we are seeing in Nigeria. That a particular group said Nigeria belongs to them and then be killing everybody. That is slave mentality. That is evil of the highest order. Such thinking is evil. A human being is like a god. A human being needs to be respected. A human being, once you damage a human being, you damage everything that we possess. And yet, we are killing like cow, killing people like animals. We are not paying attention. We don't understand that the principle of life is that your attitude to one person, regardless of the color, regardless of where, is the same attitude to other people. If you kill one person, that means you can kill the world. Of course, you kill the world. Look at the domino effect. Look at, Jesus Christ told you now, a person had 100 sheep. One strayed away. And then this powerful leader abandoned the 99 and went for the lost one. What made you to believe that if this person who is a leader, who's God, of course it's God he's talking about now. So what makes you that God will abandon the 99 and went after the one? Because God understood the principle on which everything is created. You see, because God's attitude to the lost one will damage his attitude to the 99. Your attitude to one damages, your attitude to it destroys, it cancels every other thing you feel about the 99. So that means if you kill one person, that attitude alone destroys the rest of the whole people in the world. That was how when Hitler was killing the Jews, they thought it was only the Jews. They didn't know that Hitler was planning to kill everybody. It was when it came to that level that everybody woke up and started fighting Hitler. So if your friend kill one person, you must report, you must get rid of him. You must find a way and get him arrested because he's coming to kill you. Because his attitude to one person, if he negates one person, he has negated every other person. You are not safe. Some people thought that, well, it happened in America that they killed George Floyd. It doesn't concern me. My brother, the principle says it concerns you. The principle says it's a matter of time. It's coming to your doorstep. People thought, why am I making this video? Because I understood the principle. I might as well keep quiet and say, well, it doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. But I understood that my negative attitude to one person affects my attitude to other person, even though I have negative attitude for that time for them. It's a matter of time. I'm going to transfer that negativity and evil to them. So if you are sitting in your house and say, well, that happened in America, it doesn't happen to me. By the time it gathers storms, it will happen in America and then spread all the way to your own village. And that is the time you now realize that, look, it's for me. Don't be like a chicken who only run when the danger is there. He starts running when there is danger. But when there is, it's only when he's frightened. So that's why we need to rise up. That's why we need to speak up. That's why we need to speak out, because it's gonna spread. You are not safe. So the attitude of this officer that killed Floyd, if we allow it, is gonna, permeate. It's gonna, exacerbate, and then it's gonna come back to us. That's why we don't have to keep silent. That's why we don't have to be timid. That's why we don't have to be passive. We need to start speaking. That's why Martin Luther said the day we die is the day we kept quiet, silent, become silent over things that mattered. What did this man said here, Archbishop Desmond Tutu? He said, if you are neutral in situation of injustice, you've chosen the side of the oppressor. Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Look at it. If you are neutral in situation of injustice, you've chosen the side of the oppressor. You can't be neutral over evil things. You've got to wake up. No matter what you pray, you can't be silent over evil things. If you're a child of light, you must have a righteous anger. There must be anger flaring in you. Even though it's not the anger to kill, it's the anger to confront this kind of evil thing. Why are we not confronting it? We thought it would happen in America. It's going to happen in your door. It's going to happen on your doorstep. It's going to happen to you. If it doesn't happen to you, it can happen to you in a short time. So that's why we have to begin to understand what this spirit of leadership is all about. Because without the spirit of leadership, there is nothing you can do. Without the spirit of leadership, you can get as much money you have, you can acquire as much degree as you have, but you will never impart. You cannot make a difference. That is why we have educated people, but they don't make difference. They don't understand. They can't even stand up on their feet. They can't even speak out. They can't even speak out on any issue. And then they can't contemplate action and carry it out. So why is it? Because the spirit of slavery has invaded our mind. And this spirit of slavery has made you to believe that evil is normal. That makes you to believe that you are a subject. That makes you to believe that you are a slave. That makes you to believe that you cannot be a leader in your own country, in your own village, in your own town. That is meant for the elites. Who are the elites? These are what the society taught you. But you don't understand it's your own responsibility to make the difference. Your own contribution is highly valuable. Your contribution is invaluable. It's very, very important to understand this. You are not insignificant. You are significant. The world needs your contribution for the world to move. The world needed George Floyd's contribution for the world to be complete. But today the world is not complete because the world has lost a valuable person. That is the principle on which everything is created. Nobody can do everything, but everyone can do something. You have something you can do. So stop shaking. Stop, avoiding responsibility. Stop saying, oh, leadership is meant for Peter. Leadership is meant for Paul. It is a satanic thinking. It's the devil that sold this thing to you, because the devil, undermines you by making you to believe that you are nobody. That makes you to believe you have no contribution and you have no value to offer in this world. Meanwhile, you possess everything God possesses. God has given you everything, has given you intellect to use. Yet, we don't use it. Why? Because we've been beaten, we've been brainwashed, we've been told, and programmed as not to believe in ourselves. So you got to wake up. You see, the spirit of leadership entails you to understand who you are. It makes you to understand that you have a value to offer. It makes you to understand that you are a valuable person. It makes you understand that you can make a difference. It makes you to understand that you are unique, you are separate, and you are complete in your own. These things are wisdom the spirit of leadership will give you. But the reverse is the case. We don't believe it. We don't assume it. When people want to do something, you start laughing at them and say, oh, this. So who told you that it is only for everybody, including you and I? We are all leaders. We have that instinct in us. The instinct to do better things. The instinct to give more than we receive. The instinct to make difference. The instinct to innovate. The instinct to grow. The instinct to solve problems. We are all of us have it. So don't diminish yourself. Don't undermine yourself. Don't sabotage yourself by believing it is for other people. This kind of thinking is evil. This kind of thinking is satanic. And that is why I am spending time today to, all the time speaking in, because if you remain in this kind of cocoon you are, it affects every other person. Everybody is as strong as his weakest link. So we are interconnected. There is no way you can separate Peter from Paul. What happens in America affects somebody in Nigeria. For instance, the coronavirus started in China. It affected people in UK here, affected people in America, affected everybody. That is how everything happens. So enslaving a black man, is a scar on humanity. It is inconceivable. And that is why I'm speaking out these things now. So the reason why the society has not moved is this kind of mindset. A mindset of dominating another person. God said, let them have dominion. It is not dominating a human being or dominating your wife or your children or dominating people. It's dominating your own area. Dominating in your own area. Dominating in animals, dominating in other things. Going to space, discovering things. These are the area of your domain. Not on your fellow human being. Not enslaving your fellow human being. And not being oppressor. The oppressor has a slave mentality. Because for you to oppress another person, you have to remove the spirit of God inside of you and take on the spirit of slavery and stupidity. And then you start, holding somebody on the ground. You forgot that if somebody you hold somebody on the ground, you are also on the ground. And that is why the world is the way it is. John F. Kennedy said it, if one person is held in one island, all human race is held in prison. So killing of George Floyd, diminishes everybody. It diminishes not only the black people, it diminishes the white. It makes us not to have trust.